Welcome to another edition of Weekly Dialogues. Have you heard of this term called Islamophobia? In the context of the Tablighi Jamaat going haywire all over India during the corona pandemic, this term is gaining currency. Why is this term gaining currency? Because there is something called, or there is something propagated as Islamophobia. Literally it means fear of Islam, and it is actually a tool to shut out all criticism of Islam. This is not only in India, this is a global phenomenon. This global phenomenon was first inaugurated by Muslim Brotherhood, which invested into it, and it used all possible means, especially media, to drum up the specter of accusing everybody of hating Islam as soon as anybody tried to criticize Islam. Within Islam, it is prohibited to criticize Islam. If a Muslim criticizes Islam, then he is regarded as what is called munafiq or apostate. Munafiq is a hypocrite. Apostate is somebody who leaves Islam. It is called irtidad. Munafiq is someone who does what is called nafaq. So nafaq and irtidad, people who do nafaq and who do irtidad are called munafiq and murtad. Besides these two great crimes, there are also two other great crimes within Islam. They are also directed mainly at their own people. One is called shirk. Shirk is, in common parlance, you can say idol worshipping. Anybody who does it is called mushrik. And then there is what is called gustakhi or blasphemy. So if you criticize, or if you criticize in a harsh manner any prophet or the holy book or even Islam itself, then somebody can pronounce you as a blasphemer. And punishment for all these four is death under the Sharia law. We are very fortunate that the Sharia law doesn't exist in most part of the world, but in all Islamic countries, Sharia law is very important, and there are about 27 countries which have Sharia law as their only law. The total 57 countries which recognize Islam either as a state religion or they call themselves Islamic State, and they do regard Sharia law as very important, if not the law of the land. So now once you know this background, then you know that within Islamic societies, criticism of Islam is frowned at, and the criticism of Islam is a very serious crime. Now when these people go to democracies, go to open societies where freedom of speech is the norm, and it becomes very difficult for them to come to terms with this. So in order to come to terms with this, they have started using the tools that Western democracies or other democracies or open societies provide to them, and they come down very hard on this criticism. Then they try and play victim and translate this victimhood into this term called Islamophobia. So even if you do a genuine criticism of Islam on the strength of your academic understanding, even an academic criticism, then these people, as I said, inaugurated by the Muslim Brotherhood, they come down on all these people like a ton of bricks and call them Islamophobes, call them Islamophobia. So the interesting thing is that in all open societies, in the Western societies, even Christian societies, a number of European countries, even though they are democracies and open societies, they still officially remain Christian countries. Even there, this criticism is regarded as such. Whereas, in all open and free societies where freedom of speech is the norm, anybody who does an academic criticism of religion is regarded as an intellectual. So if you are in Belgium or France and you criticize Christianity or Christian values, that person would be regarded as an intellectual. In India, it is very common, people criticize Hinduism, the society, even the Sanatana Dharma, even other practices. We criticize the Buddhists, criticize Buddhism, Jainism. All this criticism is considered valid, and of course within the Indian ethos it has always been considered valid. In fact, questioning is the norm. Unless you are allowed to question, dharma does not exist. Dharma cannot falter only by being questioned. So Hindus can question Hinduism, even Muslims can question Hinduism. It's the norm these days that anybody can question Hinduism in India. Nobody is regarded as a Hindu phobe. But the moment it comes to Islam, you do anything, you do a genuine criticism, and you are regarded as an Islamophobe. And the whole thing is called Islamophobia. This background is necessary to discuss the recent diatribe against people who have been criticizing the Tablighi Jamaat. I don't have to tell what Tablighi Jamaat did. The Tablighi Jamaat, they became the super spreader, and they became the super spreader not by mistake, but their chief, their Amir, Maulana Saad Kandelvi, is actually on record giving theological justification to congregations, to eating together, to mixing together, and to going around the country to spread the world of Islam within the believers. In an earlier video, I think I have already explained what Tablighi Jamaat means. It says Musalmano Musalman Bano. So basically in India what they go and do is that they radicalize the Muslims. This radicalization, of course, it works in different ways, and now the US intelligence is on record saying that a number of jihadis who attacked the US interests actually had Tablighi Jamaat background. The basic point is that this action of Tablighi Jamaat was not only objectionable, it was against national interest. It actually mocked at the effort of the general population. Out of the 1.3 billion people or 1.35 billion people of India, almost everybody responded to the government call of social distancing, of getting locked down, of suffering, and suffering quietly for the interest of the country, for the interest of preventing the coronavirus from spreading. But the handful full of these Tablighi Jamaat people, they went around following the instructions of the Amir, and they went around the whole country spreading this virus. Naturally, they had to be subjected to criticism. So there was criticism, and at times it was quite harsh. What happens? There is these days in this country a super Aligarh school kind of journalistic brigade. And one of the major features of this is that they are very well educated, they belong to the elite class, and majority of them are females. So you will find Rana Ayub or an Arfa Khanum Sherwani or a Sabah Naqvi or a Zainab Sikandar. All these are very vocal in defending the Tablighi Jamaat. And anybody who criticizes the Tablighi Jamaat, they call him Islamophobe. Recently, Sabah Naqvi came on record, and Sabah Naqvi was speaking in defense of Tablighi Jamaat. They said that they are being vilified unjustifiably. And then she tried to remind people of the great contribution of various people. She tried to take the name of the people who actually do not identify themselves with the Tablighi Jamaat. None of them whose name she took identify themselves with the Tablighi Jamaat. Some of them are not even Sunnis. But then everything is fine when accusing the other people of Islamophobia. Not once did any of these people berate or condemn Maulana Saad Kandilwi. Not once. Ultimately, if you look at the actions of these people and you try and compare the actions of these people pre-partition days, it is exactly the same template. What is that template at that time? You say that you start with the acrimony, then you make accusations, then you make claims, if the claims are not addressed, then you make denunciations, you denounce people, and ultimately it culminates into a street riot. We've already seen that happening in Delhi in the context of the CAA. This is the template that was being practiced in the pre-partition days. This is again the template being practiced today. What does it lead to? Ultimately, there are no British here today. You remember that famous January 1948 speech of Sardar Patel? Sardar Patel said that now these people are telling us that we have become very patriotic. He said that I want to remind the Muslims of India that those people who have got left behind in India, they had a majority of them, overwhelming majority of them, had supported Pakistan. They had a great contribution in Pakistan coming about. So what is this overnight change of heart? Does it happen? They are asking me, Sardar Patel said, that why are you doubting our intentions? Then Sardar Patel said that I asked them, why don't you ask yourself? Why that was happening? Then ultimately what happens is that if all this fails, I gave you these steps, if this fails, then comes the next part, that is called victim playing. This is exactly what Sabah Naqvi is doing. She is playing victim. And this victim playing and accusing others of Islamophobia, which is part of this victim playing, this has become a practiced art with these elites, because these elites also, because of their modern education, good accent, good English, felicity with the written word, they find a ready market in the Western leftist-oriented newspaper market. So you have a Washington Post, you have a New York Times, a great leftist bastions, whom Donald Trump rightly calls fake news, the CNN, the Guardian, the Independent, the Wall Street Journal. So these ladies especially, this also becomes a kind of a politically correct narrative. They find this. They find this very useful, and then this is used to do a lot of India bashing. This is at the root of India bashing. I would like all of you to look at that particular video that Sabah Naqvi propagated. That is the right word. That was nothing but propaganda. And also a Pakistani who's been exiled, actually forced to exile and living in London, Arif Ajakia, he has given another video. I'll put this in the comment section so you can look at both the videos. He has given a point-to-point rebuttal, and he's also told Sabah Naqvi, please stop glorifying the Mughal period. Glorification of Mughal period is anathema to the Indian psyche. They do not seem to understand this. The moment you try and whitewash Aurangzeb, you cut yourself off from the Indian psyche completely. Because Indians can do anything, they will never forgive Aurangzeb for his atrocities. They will never forgive Aurangzeb for demolishing the Kashi temple and the Mathura temple. For this victim playing, this cry of Islamophobia in this age of social media and internet is not going to cut much ice. Sabah Naqvi, Arfa, Zainab, Rana Ayub, hold off. Nobody is getting impressed by you. Thank you.
Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.